let's do a random commentary because, okay, you know what, to be honest with you, I'm already out of ideas. And, however, I ended up relying on a random topic generator, or a random question generator. And, yeah. So, the biggest thing, the topic that kind of popped up in the results were basically the craziest thing I have done. Now, what was the craziest thing I have done? The craziest thing I have done. Alright. Now, this happens way back when I was a little kid. Let's just say I was really young. Basically, I was just a toddler. If I was right, yeah, I was a toddler. And I've heard about this story many years later, and I had no awareness that I have done it. And even if I did have memory, I did end up forgetting about it. So, yeah. It's kind of a very long memory. Alright, so I was at a Chuck E. Cheese. My parents ended up taking me to a Chuck E. Cheese. I don't know if it was just for me to have a good time or there was some party going on. But all that I know was I ended up in Chuck E. Cheese. My parents took me to Chuck E. Cheese. Could have been a birthday party, could have been something else, could have been just, hey, my parents taking me out to do something. And the best place to do things is at a Chuck E. Cheese. Chuck E. Cheese is this still popular pizza restaurant where, well, it just says in the TV slogan, hey, it's the best place kids can have fun, but it's also been the host of chaotic brawls, and also there's some crazy kooky thing going on where the pizza slices are not really even, and people are starting to accuse the restaurant chain of recycling food, but that's entirely a different story. I've kind of barely go to Chuck E. Cheese, but however, that one time I went to Chuck E. Cheese, and this is what I want to talk about for the video, because this is the most craziest thing I've done. This was when I was a toddler. Okay, so I was basically a toddler, and toddlers, they also like to be troublemakers. That's something like that. Okay, so what I decided to do was, there was a time where I kind of said, okay, forget it, and I ended up taking off my clothes. And basically, I was playing through the play area naked. And from the perspective of my mom, my parents ended up finding every piece of my clothing. Okay, where is it? What's going on? And then all of a sudden, my parents found me going down the slide butt naked. Yeah, and you kind of know how the story ended from here. It was really awkward for Mom and Dad. Very awkward. We can all come to an agreement. And yeah, the most craziest thing I have done was basically, as a toddler, take off my clothes and run around the whole play area naked, or worse, I could have just ran around the whole restaurant naked. And yeah. And my parents end up finding me butt naked sliding down the slide. Now, let us go through what I did as a toddler and why is it the craziest thing that I have ever done. Because there is a multitude of reasons why. Because it could have ended horribly. My parents could have ended up biting the bullet and end up looking awkward. Way more awkward than they needed to be. They could have gotten flack for it. Now, also, another thing that could have happened was, I didn't think about the time. If you know Stranger Danger, I would I'm going to avoid going there. Alright? Because you know how YouTube is very strict on things. I have clearly forgotten about my motives. I had no idea what was going on. I have no idea what the hell I was thinking. I had no idea. But boy, it could have ended worse. Like I said, I have done a lot of dumb stuff in the past. I've been pretty much really incompetent. Let's just say I was super mediocre. And when you are a mediocre person, you're bound to screw a lot of things up. And when you screw a lot of things up, you're going to say, screw it, and either you just do whatever, God knows what, or you end up, well, being the villain a shot. Because, here's the thing. When you're a mediocre person, how are you going to be a good person? In order to use the heart, you have to have a brain that controls the heart, that uses the heart. So, you can't have one without the other. You lose your brain, you end up dead. You lose your heart, you end up dead. If you lose both, you still end up dead. Why, yes, there is such thing as being too kind, and there's also such thing as being too smart. If you're guilty of mediocrity, then you are more likely to basically toss morals out the window, or toss logic out the window, and do God knows what. When you're guilty for a lot of mediocrity, you're going to get automatically locked out from being a saint or a good guy. Because basically, what would you rather have? Superman who knows what he's doing, or a Superman who tries but keeps messing things up all the time and has no idea what he's doing? Now, I'll end up sounding like a broken record when I keep saying, hey, there's no use crying over spilt milk, but there is a consequence over spilt milk, and it's not going to be the same thing every time. There's going to be a slight chance things are going to be different. Yeah, that's going to be a thing, and we've learned that the hard way. However, let's just toss that aside and pretty much agree that this must be the earliest examples of me metaphorically playing with fire. Alright, that is all I gotta tell for my childhood stories, and I will be looking forward to you in the next video. Peace out.